Hi, my name is Hadassah Joy Leopoldo.
Hi, I'm RedHat Enterprise.
Hi, I'm Anjanette Atienza.
Hi, my name is Martin Aguilar. For today's video, we will show you how to dual boot Windows 7 with RedHat Enterprise Linux. First, let's talk about RedHat Enterprise Linux. RedHat or Red Hat Enterprise Linux OS was created by the company named Red Hat Software Company. It is a multinational software company that provides open source software products. An open source operating system is an operating system whose code has been made publicly and freely available to anyone who wants to see it and modify it. Access to the source, free remix and redistribution, and to predatory vendor lock-in. Higher degree of cooperation. Red Hat Enterprise is a Linux distribution developed and released in several versions for desktop, like 32 and 64-bit processor, also Power ISA, ARM64, and IBM Z.
What is dual boot or multi-booting and how it works? When you boot your computer, the BIOS loads the bootloader from the hard drive that contains the operating system installed. You can't just use one OS but have multiple OSs by adding another hard drive into your computer and install different OS in it. Choosing which hard drive to boot in your BIOS or boot menu. Switching between your installed OS by rebooting your computer and selecting the installed OS you want to use. Even if you have a single drive, you can also have multiple OSs partitioning the drive into several different partitions. You can have one partition for your current OS and one partition for another OS you want by splitting the drive between them. You can switch what OS you want to use in the menu when you open or restart your computer. You could use several machine software instead of setting up a dual boot system, but a dual boot system lets you actually use both operating system on your hardware at a full of native speed. You don't have to deal with the overhead of a virtual machine, which is especially bad when it comes to 3D graphics. The downside is you can only use one of your installed operating system at a time. In this video, we will use one hard drive to perform the dual booting.
Create partition for Red Hat Linux. Take note, make sure you have already backed up all the data stored in your drive and disconnect any drive that connected in your computer before doing this process. First, click the Start menu and search or type run. Type distmgmp.msc and the disk management will open. Choose your largest space in your computer enough to install another OS and create partition for Red Hat Linux. Note, check the system requirements of both OS you currently have and OS will be installed before you proceed the process. To create partition, right-click and click Shrink Volume. Wait until to shrink. Windows automatically gives you half the volume. If you want to change the volume of each other OS, you can type the amount of space in Shrink MB and click Shrink. You are now ready to install Red Hat Linux.
Install Red Hat Enterprise Linux 6. Plug in your USB bootable or your CD that has OS. We will now go to boot menu. In my computer, the boot menu is Escape. You can search what key will be pressed to go in your boot menu. Press Start. No, you should press Quick the key before it loads again to Windows. Press the key. Use arrow keys to navigate. If you're using USB bootable, choose the name of your USB. But if you choose CD like me, choose CD-ROM drive, then click Enter. Enter Install or Upgrade. Wait to initialize. Once it finished, it will ask you to begin the media test. You can choose OK to check the information. If not, choose Skip. It will take some time. After waiting, the installation window will appear. Then click Next. Select your language, click Next. Select keyboard layout, click Next. Click Next. You can change your domain name, but I just leave it and click Next. Select your time zone of your country, click Next. Assign your root password, click Next. When this window appears, it means your password is weak. You can change it by clicking Cancel, else click Use. You can use different types of options. Use Alt Space. It will remove all your partitions created by previous OS and it will create Red Hat Linux partition automatically. If you already have Linux partition from your system previously, you can choose this option. It will replace all existing Linux OS and it will install OS Red Hat. You can use Shrink Current System. In Use Free Space option will automatically take up free space from your hard disk and create partition by itself. But in this tutorial, we will create a custom layout, then click Next. Select Free Space to perform installation of Red Hat Linux. Write changes to disk boot. The other stated here means that there are other OS installed in your computer. We can edit it or rename it as Windows 7 or what desired name you want to distinguish what other OS we have. Since we are not yet finished for installation, let's just stay it to Red Hat default because it will load. You can change the default boot system. If you change it, just go to boot menu. Press any key to appear the boot menu. Choose the Red Hat to complete the installation. Then click Next. If you are beginner, I recommend desktop for a graphical user interface. If you choose other option, it will be only command line. It will be messy for you who are new to Linux. Leave other option. Click Next. Wait until packages are copied and completed. Almost finished with the installation. Click Reboot. Wait until the system reboot. Wait to load. You can see that Red Hat is our default boot system. Few steps remaining. Click Forward. Accept license, then click Forward. Click Forward once again. Type your username, full name, password, confirm password, then click Forward. This window appears if you have weak password. Click No to change password. If not, click Yes. Adjust the date. Click Forward. Ignore the warning sign. Click OK. Click Finish. Log in the username and password you have created. You have successfully installed Red Hat Linux. Let's see if we're able to run two OS we have. Restart the system. Press any key for boot menu. We can see all OS we have in our computer have input menu. Choose Windows 7. Let us see if it still runs. Let us try again to boot the Red Hat if it still works after we load Windows 7. Our two OS are successfully running.
Earlier, we set Red Hat as our default boot system to continue our installation. Let us change the default boot system to Windows 7. To change the default boot system, we need to log in as superroot. Then switch user. Click Other. Then type root. Type the root password you have created. Click Close. Right click, then open the terminal. Type bi/etc.grub.conf. Then hit enter. To edit, type I. Default equals to 0 for Red Hat Linux. Default equals to 1 for Windows 7. Change it to default equals to 1 to change the default boot system to Windows 7. Later, we will check it if it works. We already edit the other to Windows 7 in name. You can still change it to your desired name. Press the escape or ESC from your keyboard. Type W and hit enter. Close the terminal. Restart or reboot the system. Windows 7 are now in default system. Changing default boot system successfully.